Hello, welcome all. Welcome in another important video. In our previous video, we saw how to use Mocha JS as well as Chai JS for testing our Node.js code. We did some unit testing in our previous video. Now here in this video, we will start with testing our actual APIs. So for that reason, let us start creating one server file from scratch. So here, as you can see, we have test folder, and this came by default from the boilerplate which we have used. And inside of that, I'm going to create one file, and let's say it is server file. Well, when you actually test your APIs, you just have to use server file as this app.js file. But just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to start everything from scratch, and that's the reason why I'm creating server.js file again. So inside of this, let's just create simple APIs. So for that reason, we have to use express.js and just simply import this quickly. And after that, we have to create one variable with name app, and we have to use express. Now this app variable will hold entire methods that we need to create our APIs. So let's start creating app dot get, and it's going to be our first get API, and I'm just want to send some message out of it. Okay, so let's just start creating APIs for student database management. So I'm going to create simple JSON object, and we will store and delete data from that object. Let's not use database for now because things will become quite complicated with the database, but the process will remain same as we do here. So let's start creating simple JSON object. So I'm going to create one var, its name is data, and it's going to be an object. And let's not create an object, we will create array of objects. So let's create this and initially put some data here. Let's say name is age is let's say 24 years old, and his email is abc@gmail.com. Good. So let's make copy of this couple of times. Okay, I think that should be enough. All right, so we have this data created. Now inside of the get API, we'll just simply Alright, so now we are done with the data creating. Now let's just start sending this data with this get API. So we will get access to request and response objects. So we are going to use that response to send over to the user. So let's say data. You can use like this. And okay, so we can do like this. So this is more professional way to do. This is more professional way to send data. Alright, so now let's make a copy of this 3 times, and I'm gonna quickly change its type. So I'm trying to creating a RESTful API. So let's put post delete, and this will become put. Okay, so now as we know that get method simply send us all the entire data, and Post method will hold some values. So request dot body dot name, and let's create one variable and store that in that variable first, and let's do the same thing for rest of the two variables, so age and email. Okay, with this way we'll get data from user side, and we will try to insert those data inside the array which we have created locally. So in order to insert data, we just have to use data.push, and I'm not gonna write validation for now, but if you want you can check is it null or is this the actual value that you want. So for now let's not add those, and I'm gonna write email. Okay, so with this way we will be able to insert data inside the local variable. So after that, as a data, I'm just simply passing the message data inserted. Okay, and after that we have to delete those data. So in order to delete data, just have to use request dot name, request dot body dot name, and name will be this. Cool. So well, what if I want to? Alright, so in order to delete data, we just have to use data for each, and inside it will be item and index. So once we receive all those data, we just compare if the name what we have received is equal to the name what we got in the array, and if it is, then we'll simply use a splice technique. So it will be something like data dot splice and the index what we have currently, and we want to delete which item. So with this way we will get deleted data expectedly. We'll see it later on, and after that we'll simply pass message that data deleted. Cool. Okay, so now we are also done with the data deletion. Now data updation only remain. So we are going to use same thing, and data of index dot name. Okay, so now we have done with all other restful operations. Okay, all we need to do here is we need to use a body parser, because we are using methods such as put and post, which requires the parameters in a body, and we can access parameters from body only when we decrypt that. So we just have to use body parser Okay, and I'll use that body parser as a middleware, so it will be like app.use and then the body parser dot URL encoded. So it will be an object and extended should be the false. Okay, so with this way we'll get access to our body parameters. Okay, so now we are done with this. I can see some red line here. I don't know why it is coming. Okay, so just a selection. Anyways, okay, so now we are done with the installation part. All we need to do is to export this module as an app. Okay, so if you can see here, we app.js is our main module file, and they are also following the same way. They're exporting the module and they're importing it in the main file, which is index.js file, and after that they are allocating the port number. Well, this structure is really important because if you want to test your APIs, you don't need to start your server and test it out. You can only pass this reference of your app module, and that module you can import it in your testing file. So let me quickly explain how it will work. Well, as you can see, this image is simple explanation about what actually gonna happen in test. So as you can see here, we have Mocha JS installed, and that Mocha JS will simply send request to particular route, and based on the response, it will get that response here. And Chai JS, which is nothing but an assertion library which we are using to compare the value which we got with the value which we are expecting. So based on that, our test case will decide that is this pass or is this fail. So that's how it will work. So as you can see here, we have one test folder, and I'm going to create another file inside of it. So I'm going to give it a name, server.js. If you can see inside of package.json file, we got this command, and its name is test, and it is using command of mocha.js. Now this mocha.js will look for test folder, and whichever the test is we have written inside of test folder, it will start executing all of those. So if you want to pass any different route, you can just pass it right here like this. Let's say API, and then you want index.js file, you can do that also. So let's keep this for like that for now, and I'm going to comment all of the code what we have in other files. So I'm gonna okay, cool. So the first thing that we'll need to do inside of this test file is to import our module which we are exporting from server.js. So it's gonna be like server is equal to require dot slash server. Okay, after importing that module, we'll have to import mocha.js. It's gonna be mocha is equal to wire mocha. Then we'll also need one more library, that is nothing but chai. Okay, so now chai.js will play a role of assertion library. We'll need something to send a request to that particular route. So for that reason, we'll have to import chai HTTP. Now this chai HTTP will allow us to send requests to that particular route so that we can test it easily. Okay, so now we are done with all the imports. Now let's just quickly start creating simple test cases. So now we already know what is the syntax of creating any new test case. We just have to use a describe callback, and inside first parameter we'll have to pass what the name of the test case. So I'm gonna test the first get API. So it's gonna be like, well, I saw universally it is accepted that people are just using the method and the route. So I'm gonna use the same syntax. Okay, so if we look into our server.js file, this is our first API which we are going to test. Okay, so our route will be forward slash itself, and as a second parameter we don't have to pass anything, it will just be a callback, and inside of it we will need to use it callback. So inside of this it callback we'll have to give a proper name to the test case. So I'm gonna check a type of that response. We'll check uh, valid data, and we'll also check length of the data. So you can give it name according to your test case. Okay, so this will be easy for anyone to understand about your test case. Okay, so okay, now we are good to go. Now we have created one test case here, and we need to simply use this chai http to send a request over. Okay, my bad, we'll have to use this chai http as a middleware for this chai. So I'm gonna use chai dot use chai http. Okay, so with this way we'll get access to our API. So we can chai dot request of server dot the type of method which you are trying to send request to. So it's going to be a get request, and you'll have to pass a route. Okay, so route will be based on the module you have imported. So currently I have imported the server.js module, and as per that module the route will be this forward slash. Okay, and after that you will get access to error and response parameter, and after that you can simply console it log for now. So let's just use this. It will be an arrow function. Cool. So now we are done with the simple setup. Let me quickly go and cd inside of our working directory, and I'm going to simply use npm run test. This is because we have one script inside the script's object, and its name is test, which is nothing but the Mocha JS. Okay, so I'm gonna hit this. As you can see here, we haven't really add any restriction, so that's the reason our test case got passed. And as you can see here, we have got this type of data. Okay, now one thing that we need to change in our code is we need to use this done. Okay, so one thing that we made mistake is after get done, after means we received a response from the get API, we will get one function and its name is end, and that end function will hold the response values. So that's the reason why we are not getting this console message. Now let's quickly execute it again. See, as you can see here, we got entire response object. So that means be able to hit API to that particular route. Now if you want to check what values you got, you just have to use this response.text syntax. And if I re-execute this, let me quickly clear this. Okay, so as a response I got entire JSON object, which is kind of cool. And this null is because we haven't really got any error. So let's put one simple restriction. If it is a null, I'll simply return it. Okay, and once we receive the data, we'll have to check two things here first. So whichever uh, the response we have got, I want its response has to be 200, and I want to check its data type. So currently we are getting string as a data output. We just have to use const parsed JSON and is equal to json.parse response of text. So with this we will get actual JSON object. See, we got actual JSON object. Now if you want to check what type of data you have received, so currently I'm expecting array of objects, so I'm gonna write simple chai dot expect. Well, here are different way you can write your assertion. So chai just provides different styles of writing your assertion. First, as you can see, they are using should keyword, and with the help of that you can construct your entire message, and you can check length of the array you are receiving, and you can check value inside of it, or you can do pretty much other things also. So if you want, you are comfortable with using this style, you can use and check this guideline. If you want to use expect, which is coming from chai itself, and they will also allow you to do the same thing. As you can see here, these all things are doing the same thing but in a different way. So whichever the way you are comfortable, you can use it. So that's the beauty of using chai.js. So let's check the type of data which we are receiving. So currently I'm expecting that data should be in array format, so I'm gonna write, so I'm going to use this way of syntax. It is an assert. So while importing, I just have to use assert is equal to require, and inside of it just have to pass chai dot assert. Okay, so we receive this object. Now as per this instructions, we can use dot type of syntax to check the type of the data which we are receiving. So for now let's just put this and parsed JSON. Well, intentionally I'm leaving this parameter as it is because I want to check is it actually checking the type of parameter or not. So I'm going to execute this and it should get rejected. See, we got this test case got rejected, and you can see the reason also. Uncaught assertion expected to be a string, so this is not a string in short. So if I use object, well, don't get confused between object and array in a JavaScript, because in a JavaScript, as we know, everything is an object. Functions are also object, arrays are also objects, and objects itself also an object. So if you want to check data type, just have to use, even if it is an array, you have to use object. So if I run this test case again, see, as you can see here, it got passed. So we are done with the test case. So what is actually happening here? So if you see this diagram again, our Mocha JS is nothing but acting as a request sender to that particular route. Now here we are not using any port number because we imported the main module file. So main module file is holding entire route structure. So we have imported this server module, and this server module will actually allow our Mocha JS to send request over to that particular route. once we receive the data as a response, our charges is taking care of. So this is nothing but taking care of what type of data which we are receiving. We can do multiple things with this. So we can check how many we can check length of our received array. So if I go here and assert dot length of data which we have received, it is nothing but parsed JSON. So if I do it like that, so I'm expecting that it should give me 4 length, but currently it should give me like 3. Let's go inside server.js file, and if you see here, by default we have inserted only 3 records, so this test case should get rejected. Okay, so as you can see here, it has again given a proper message saying that a length property doesn't match. So if I put if I put 3 instead of 4, a test case is expectedly will get pass. Well, actually it is saying that uncaught assertion error, expected object status. Okay, so that they are expecting the pass JSON is an object, it is not an array. Well, we cannot use this property for this particular use case. Other things as well. Let's say I can use equal. So if I go and paste it here, assert dot equal, and I'm gonna take a chance and I want to check first index of name, and it should be Ram. Well, according to our code, the first record value is also a Ram. So if I execute this test case again, well, actually we forgot to save this. It is saying that we haven't really received any data here. So let me quickly console this parsed JSON. Oh, my bad. Because we are sending data as we are sending object, we are receiving actual data in data parameter. So it's my bad that I overlooked this. So if you want to check data, you can simply use length of parameter as well, but all I need to do is to put like assert dot length of, and length of parsed JSON dot data should be 3. Okay, cool. So if I re-execute this, see, we got our test case pass. Well, you can add this entire parameters in one test case, or if you have another choice, you can simply create another test case with the name it. And if you want to check length of data, you can do that in a separate test case also. So let's quickly copy this. It's gonna be done. So you can write your test case with this way. So now I don't want to check its object type, I just want to check its length, and let's remove that from here. Okay, if I run this test case, as you can see, our 2 test case got passed. It is because we created this 2 test case. And if I use 4, and if I deliberately try to fail this test case, So if I scroll it a little bit up, as you can see, our one test case got passed and another one is failing because of the length is not matched. So with the received length of 3 and we are expecting it to be 4. So with this way we can write our entire test cases. You can check out this chai assertion library, and there are multiple things you can check. So if I go inside of guidelines real quick, as you can see here, they have given a nice documentation over how you can check your different values. And see, as you can see here, currently we are just simply returning the value from if we got any error. So we can use this syntax to and allow our assertion library to decide whether it should reject or it should go further. So based on that, they will decide. Okay, so we just so this is all about the simple get method. What about the post method? Okay, so post method will also remain the same. Simply describe another test case saying post and give it a route, and as a callback we'll get inside of callback we'll have to use another callback. Its name is it, and you can write type or something. Okay, and as a second parameter you will have to pass done as a parameter. Cool. Okay, so now inside of it, as you can see, we have used this chai.request. We are going to use the same thing inside post method also, but this time we'll change get method by post. Okay, and if I remove this for now, and if I click on here, so if you want to send any data, you just have to use this send, and as a send you can pass an object. So as an object I'm going to pass name, okay, and the rest of the syntax will remain the same. Like get method will get access to end callback, and that callback will hold two different values, error and response. So expectedly we'll get results from here. So I'm going to print error and response both. So if I re-execute this test case again, well, it is giving error for this line because we haven't really imported should. But the one thing I can see here clearly that it is not going up to this test case. So we'll have to figure out what was the reason. If I comment it out for now. Okay, so as you can see, this test case got passed. Okay, and we received data as well. Okay, so if I use response.text, we receive the actual data which we are passing. So we are passing status code as well as data along with it, so we can access that data. So we'll put a simple restrictions here. We can test it, like we can check response. So it will be like assert dot equal, and it will be again the same process. we'll have to convert this responded data into a parsed JSON, and we can use json.parse response.txt. Cool. So we'll receive data here, and is equal to nothing but holding two different parameters, the actual value and the message which you want to check. So it will be the actual value is nothing but parsed json dot data is equal to the data which we are expecting. So it should be data inserted. If we send or if we receive anything other than that, we'll just simply reject this test case. Okay, so let's pass this parameter as a second parameter. Okay, so if I re-execute this thing, see, our one test case got passed. So if I change this message a little bit and try to re-execute this, it should get rejected, and it is giving us a reason that 2 equal to, that means it simply doesn't match. This is the received data from API, and this is the data what we are expecting. So due to the mismatch, our test case got rejected. I can do the same thing for our response body. So we can use dot equals, and parameter will be 200 and status. Okay, so see, with this way we can check what is the response we are receiving from the API and what is the expected values. So now you don't need to worry about if you change something in the code. You just simply have to run all the test cases, and based on the value, based on number of test cases passed and rejected, you will get results that is this changes are suitable for all entire functionalities or not. So we just saw how to use Mocha JS and Chai JS. This is simple overview, and I just don't want it to get you overwhelmed with a lot of information, so that you can miss all the basic concepts behind using testing frameworks. So for now, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.